Hello friends, how are you all? Once again, I welcome you all to your own channel tour with me. Friends, imagine you have lakhs of rupees in your pocket. You are driving expensive cars. There are tall buildings all around, luxurious bungalows, expensive resorts, and hotels. When people hear the name of your country, they would say that the people of this country live like kings. But suddenly, if something happens in your life and you lose this wealth all at once, how would you feel? You would think, brother, money is truly just dirt in hands. But this has happened with a country. Friends, once upon a time, it was listed among the richest and well-developed countries in the world. The lifestyle of the people here was very luxurious. The surprising thing was that this country didn't receive this wealth as a gift. Rather, it earned it through its own splendid planning and hard work. But as time passed, the economy of this country collapsed overnight and it was destroyed completely. We are talking about Nauru, the world's third smallest country. So fasten your seatbelts and let's begin on a fascinating journey of Nauru, friends. Nauru is located in Micronesia, in the South Pacific Ocean. It spreads across a mere 21 square kilometers. It's the world's smallest independent republic and the only democratic nation with no official capital. Its population is around 12,800. If you visit Nauru, you will see people engaged in fishing, animal husbandry, and coconut farming everywhere. Besides, as a camp for asylum seekers in Australia, this country also works. In return, Australia provides it with some $1 million of aid every year. Today, Nauru appears completely different from what it used to be. There was a time when the lifestyle and living ways of the people here amazed everyone. Sports car sounds echoed on the streets. And behind the discovery of this country, there is a very interesting story that very few people know. Actually, Nauru was discovered in 1798 by Europeans aboard a British ship passing by. Suddenly, they spotted a densely populated island surrounded by coconut trees and white sandy beaches. The island was so beautiful that no one felt like going back home. After a few decades, people started settling here, started coconut farming, and began raising pigs. People were just farming, and they didn't care about development. At that time, the population here was only 1,000, who preferred to live their lives peacefully and comfortably. Slowly, people started to know about this island, and visitors began to come here. Instead of just visiting, people liked this place so much that they started living here. As people started coming in, Nauru's population increased. In 1900, British geoscientist and prospector Albert Fuller Ellis discovered phosphate and phosphorus on this island. Actually, the British were trying to find oil here, but they didn't find any source of oil. However, they stumbled upon a bigger treasure. In reality, there were vast deposits of phosphate on this island, the demand for which was worldwide. If you don't know, let me tell you, phosphate doesn't form so easily. It takes hundreds of years to form. And when it's ready, it's used in many things. Many reports and researches claim that Nauru has such deposits in 80% of its area. So without delay, workers were put to work in the mines on the island. At that time, Nauru was under German control, which is why the mining rights were given to Germany. Mining work started here day and night, and within a very short time, 80 million metric tons of phosphate were extracted from here. Shipping boats, processing factories, and industries were set up here. But then, the Second World War began, and Japan captured Nauru. However, Japan lost in a war, and after the war, Australia claimed its authority over Nauru again. After the Second World War, Nauru's population was reduced to only 600. Even after a small population, Nauru didn't stop mining work and continued it with fewer people. Mining work in Nauru started to increase so much that people from other countries started coming here to find employment. Nauru was getting richer. In the 1950s, a revolution began in Nauru. Nauru was becoming rich. Voice of separation from Australia from the corner becomes faster. Millions crowd the streets to protest, and in their eyes, the anger of the struggles of the people of Nauru. Finally, Australia had to bow down. In 1968, Nauru was recognized as an independent country. But until independence from Australia, a third of the country's land had become barren due to mining. The country's natural beauty was also affected by the mining of ships. In the success of mining here, the government also started showing more interest. After independence, the government of Nauru took all mining rights under its control. After coming under government control, phosphate and more started to be extracted. People associated with animal husbandry, or farming or fishing, also started moving towards mining. As Nauru's phosphate reached every corner of the world, suddenly Nauru became rich because of this phosphate. So much money came to the people here that their entire lifestyle changed. People began to live a lavish life. From this, the government also benefited so much that they started providing all kinds of facilities to their citizens for free. The government started building houses for free for the people, water, education, and health facilities like electricity started to be provided for free to the people. The entire Nauru became tax-free. It seemed like Nauru had never been under any tax system. Seeing this country, it seemed as if there was no less than heaven. The government bought aircraft and ships. People also started buying expensive cars. From here, the government had so much money that they started to spend it like water, and this mistake weighed heavily on the government of Nauru. The people here also supported the government completely, and people other than healthy eating did not like anything to eat. They included junk food in their daily routine. People started getting very fat, and Nauru's name became one of the fattest countries in the world. But in the eyes of Nauru, it seemed like the shackles of money were tied. The decade of the 1980s was the golden decade for Nauru. The income per person of Americans in 191 was $14,000, whereas the income per person of Nauru was $27,000, which was almost double that of America. Even till here, everything was fine. This country had so much stock of phosphate that people here did not have any problem at all. But this mistake was no less than a bad dream for Nauru, because the government didn't pay attention to this at all. That when the stock of phosphate will be empty, then what will the people there do among all this? The government also did not develop its infrastructure. The government was providing all kinds of facilities to the people for free, so they too did not work, swore not to do this. Its reason was also the government itself. The country's skilled labor force decreased. People used to indulge in intoxication all day, and a nasty life was won. In 1990, Nauru's GDP was almost $1.03, which was very low for such a populated country. It was an achievement. But in 2001, the GDP figure fell to only 0.3, 90% of the country's economic capacity. Seeing this, the government had to become active. They started hitting hands and feet in every way so that their mistake could be rectified to control the country's economy. In 1990, the government of Nauru started offshore banking and approved the opening of 400 banks in the country. In these banks, anyone in the world could open an account and deposit their money. But Nauru couldn't fix anything for long. The result was that the crime rate and corruption in the country started increasing. Banking work also in 2001 completely stopped, and in 2005, the stock of phosphate also ended. Those people who used to roam the streets with wealth had no work left, not for the country. Only economic loss occurred. But here, the environment of the country also suffered a lot. The natural beauty of the country was destroyed, trees drying up and echoing with noise all the time. Nauru's once bustling jam began to fade away. If Nauru wanted, it could develop infrastructure and attract tourists. But Nauru did not pay attention to this at all. Today, even less than 200 people go to Nauru annually, and due to mining, the land of the country is not suitable for farming. Australia has set up camps for refugees here, and in return, Australia gives $4.6 million to Nauru every year in dollars. And people do coconut farming here, and a few industries have also been established here. Despite all this, the country's GDP is only $132 million. Many of the world's countries learned a lesson from Nauru. Nauru's area is also decreasing every year. In such a situation, perhaps the day is not far when Nauru's mark on the world map is permanently erased. Hope you liked today's video. And how did you like Nauru destroyed because of its own mistake? You also well if you know. What did you learn from this video? Tell us in the comments. If you liked the video, then like, share, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.